I mentioned earlier that in Vedanta, one goes through 3 stages. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. What do these mean? First is you study the text. Literally, it means hearing. So you study the text and understand what the text says. That's the conclusion of the first stage. When you've done that, you're through to the second stage where you say, yeah, I understand what the text, I know what the text says, I can repeat it back to you, but, and in fact, in those days, they used to insist on students memorizing the text. So I know what the text says, but I've got many doubts, many questions. So all those questions are to be resolved in the second stage, where you ask the questions, discuss it, think it out yourself, argue it out, till the end of the second stage, which is reasoning, where you can now say, I not only know the text, but I also understand it. I know what it says, and now I get it. I've got clarity, I've got conviction. But that's not enough. It has to become a living truth to us. Just like right now it seems to be a living truth that I am this body. It should become a living truth that I am Brahman, I am awareness, consciousness, I am existence, consciousness, bliss. So that should become a living truth. There is a telling story about Sri Ramakrishna. At that time, he had throat cancer. Those of you know the story, that you know that he passed away from throat cancer. He was very ill and suffering. One of his disciples, Hari, came and asked him one morning, how are you today, sir? And Sri Ramakrishna said, it hurts and I cannot eat. And then Hari said something very strange. He said, I see you are in great bliss. Now that's a cruel thing to say to somebody dying of throat cancer. But Sri Ramakrishna's response was equally startling. He said, I see that you are in great bliss. And Sri Ramakrishna burst out laughing and said, oh, the rascal has caught me out. He's got me. He's seen through me. Which means that it's true that there is pain. Vedanta does not drive away the pain in the body. There is disease, and the body is decaying and dying. And yet, there is this person who is in great bliss and joy and peace inside. He has found something where he can stay in great joy and peace in the midst of the turbulence of life. To reach that level, it must become a living truth. And to make it a living truth, there are these practices, meditations, called Nididhyasana, Vedantic meditation. And here, the author has given 6 such practices. I won't translate in this particular way, the 23rd verse, but I'll give you the classification of the 6 practices. 3 of them are internal, which enable us to focus on Brahman inside, that I am Satchidananda. And 3 are external. When you are experiencing the world, can I see Brahman everywhere? Just like when you're experiencing the ocean, you're looking at waves and surf and all. At the same time, if I ask you, do you see water? You'll say, yeah, I see water. While you are seeing the waves and the surf, you can easily say, yeah, I see water. In the same way, when we are experiencing this world, people and events and things happening, at the same time, if somebody asks you, are you established in Brahman? Is it an experience of Brahman? You can say, yes, it is. So to reach that level, we need these meditation techniques. So there are 3 which enable us to see means within quotes, see Brahman externally in the world, and 3 internally. The 3 internal and 3 external are further subdivided into what is called savikalpa and nirvikalpa, with support and without support. So the first 2, internal, first one is called, if I translate the Sanskrit, it becomes very cumbersome. It will go something like this. The first one will be called drishyanuviddha antara savikalpa samadhi. So in English, that would be with object support internal samadhi. The second one would be called shabdanuviddha antara savikalpa samadhi, with text support internal samadhi. And the last one in the internals would be called nirvikalpa samadhi, so supportless samadhi. exactly like that tree externally. Object support external samadhi, samadhi, text supported external samadhi, and without support external samadhi. Now, it's cumbersome in English, but when we actually look at the techniques, they are not so they're not so complex. Let's go to the first technique, the first internal samadhi, 24. Kamadhyaschittaga drishya, kamadhyaschittaga drishya, tatsakshittvena chetanam, tatsakshittvena chetanam, dhyaye drishyānuvidhoyam, dhyaye drishyānuvidhoyam, samadhi savikalpaka, samadhi savikalpaka. So samadhi savikalpaka is the first samadhi with support, internal samadhi with support. What is the support here? An object. What object? Any internal object. It could be the breath, it could be a thought, it could be an idea, a memory, anything at all. Whatever comes to mind, that can be a support. I'll tell you the exact technique. It's a bit like, a good example is, when I bring a mirror, follow this example. When I bring a mirror in front of my face, I see my face reflected in the mirror. Now suppose I do this. I look at the reflected face and using that try to become aware of my real face. Remember, I can't see my real face directly. I can only see a reflection. Are you with me at this point? Just imagine the mirror example. You can only see your reflected face in the mirror. You can't directly see your real face. You say, but Swami, I am seeing my face in the mirror. Yeah, in the mirror. In the mirror is a reflection. Your real face is here. You can't see it directly. You can only see a picture or a selfie or a reflection in a mirror. Now, using that reflection in the mirror, try to become aware that your real face is here. You can't see it, but you become aware. It's exactly like that. Whenever we experience any thought, whatever it is, that thought is shining in that reflected consciousness. And that reflected consciousness is none other than the reflection of the real consciousness which I am. I'll repeat that again. Whenever I experience any thought, any emotion, any memory, whatsoever, all of that is experienced in awareness. And that awareness, which shines upon that thought or memory or whatever, is a reflection of the real consciousness, which I am. Use that thought to become aware of the witness consciousness. The direct translation of this is Kamadya chittaga drishya. The objects in the chitta. Chittaga drishya means objects in the mind. What are the objects in the mind? Kamadya. Look at the boldness. Desire, etc. It doesn't have to be a holy thought like Om or God. It can be desired. I want a cookie. Okay, use that. So, what is, it says, drishya tat sakshittvena chetanam. Consciousness is the witness of that, is a shining upon that, is revealing that, illumining that. It's because that you are awareness, you are able to experience that thought, I want a cookie. It's a bit like asking you, look at this book and ask you, what are you seeing? You'll say, I'm seeing a book. Not really. What you are seeing is light itself. Light reflected from the book goes into your eyes. And that carries the information. The reflection goes into your eyes and you get an image of the book in the eyes, and then somehow it is transmitted to the brain, and from there somehow it is presented to the mind where consciousness reveals it. Now, when looking at the book, you're looking at the book, if I ask you, become aware of the light in which the book is shining. While you're seeing the book, here is light. Become aware of the light in which the book is shining. So that light, you're using the book to become aware of the light. In the same way, you're using a thought to become aware of the consciousness in which the thought shines. And that consciousness you are. You are that witness consciousness. Are you with me so far? Here is the difference between, say, yogic meditation and Vedantic meditation. A clear difference. In yogic meditation, we will be asked to take up a thought and concentrate on it. Say, for example, it might be Om. When you meditate on Om, I meditate on Om in my heart. And my thought comes, and then a thought comes, I want a cookie. And I have to give up that thought and bring it back to Om. Om again. And then my knee aches. Bring it back to Om again. So whatever other thoughts come, I gently bring my mind back to the thought I'm concentrating on, Om. It's a holy text like Om, or it's an image of a form of God in some form, like Krishna or something. So I bring it back again and again to one particular thought. But in Vedantic meditation, that's not what we are being asked to do. We are being asked to do, in fact, quite the opposite. Whatever thought comes in the mind, use it to become aware of the consciousness in which the thought shines. It's like saying, whatever object I show you, this one, become aware of the light in which it shines. This one, become aware of the light in which it shines. Right? Whatever object I show you, the object is not important. The object is reflecting light back to you. Become aware of the light in which the object shines. Become aware of the awareness in which the thought shines. That awareness you are. And stabilize. And stay in that awareness. Thoughts will come. The moment a thought comes, a feeling comes, anything comes, use it to become aware of the awareness itself. And stabilize there. Is this making sense? It's a little difficult. It's very simple in one sense, but a little difficult also. You're being asked to make a turn. You see, what is the turn? We continuously flow towards an object. You see, right now you are looking at an object. This person is there. You are hearing object sounds. You are feeling an object, the chair you're sitting on or the ground you're sitting on. That's objective. Our minds are continuously flowing out to objects. We are here being asked to do something unnatural to us, to turn towards the subject. Don't make the subject into another object. It can't be done. But use the object to go back to the subject. What object? Any object. Whereas in yogic meditation or in bhakti meditation, you are asked to concentrate on the object itself. Maybe Krishna, my beloved, is the object of meditation. Focus on the object. Keep all other objects out, focus on this one. So that's one kind of meditation. When you're watching the breath in Buddhist meditation, the breath becomes an object and you're watching it. And you're aware. But here you're being asked to use the breath to become aware of awareness itself. So I cannot belabor this point too much because this is the crucial thing. It's a turn. You know what the turn is like? Do you remember the story of the 10 persons who crossed the river? And you remember the story that they counted only the 9 persons and they didn't count themselves. So they thought that only 9 are there. The 10th person is drowned. You remember that? Right? Now, let me ask you a question. That person counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Why couldn't he find the 10th person? Was it because the 10th person was not there? No. Why couldn't he find the 10th person? Because he was looking outside. He was looking outside. He was not looking where the 10th person is. Where is the 10th person? Not outside, here. So he was looking outside. Now let me ask you one more question. Why was he looking outside? Because he had found the other 9 persons outside. He's quite reasonable in his expectation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And here the 10th person should be there. Isn't there. So 10 persons drowned. He's quite reasonable. He expects that person to be outside. But the 10th person is not outside. That's why you see it's such a profound story. The pure subject, you, are not an object. So when you try to look at objects, you'll never find yourself. Now that person had to turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the wise man came and turned his hand. Look here, 10th. Thou art the 10th. That turn, nobody can do for you. You'll have to do it yourself. Shankaracharya, in one of the commentaries of the Upanishads, he tells an interesting story. There's this person who was scolded by his guru. His guru told him, you're not human. I mean, in a sense, you're inhuman. You're like less than human. So you're not human. And this disciple was so sad. And so he went and was sitting and moping. And a wise person, as usual, comes along and asks him, why are you sad? Well, my guru told me I'm not human. And I'm so sad. And this person says, look, let me show you that you need not be sad, What are non-human things? The rocks and plants and animals and the sky and the earth. Are you a rock? He says, no. Are you a plant? No. Are you an animal or an insect? No. Are you the sky or the earth or the wind? No. So you have exhausted all non-human things. So what are you? The whole universe divides into A and not A, human and not human. So if all non-human things are exhausted, I am none of these. Automatically I am a human. Now at this point, Shankaracharya says, at this point, if that guy asks, yeah, what am I? Then nobody can help him. Because you are supposed to get it, that I am human. If none of the non-human things I am, then I must be human. If none of the objective things I am, not the body, not the mind, not the thoughts, feelings, person, none of them I am, then I must be the pure subject, witness consciousness. So that breakthrough has to come. This is how the first of the meditative practices, internal meditative practices, starts. Look at the text. Kamadya, desire, etc. Take up any thought. Look at the boldness of it. Doesn't have to be a mantra, doesn't have to be Om, it could be any thought. If you say, Swami, no thought is coming to my mind. Perfect, that no thought. You are experiencing no thought coming to your mind. Good. That experience of no thought coming to your mind is shining in that consciousness. Become aware of the consciousness which experiences no thought in the mind. So use any thought that comes up in your mind. If it changes, well and good. Take up the new thought. Another thought comes, take up another thought. No problem. Drishyaha, they are all objects. Tat sakshittvena chetanam. The witness which is aware of all of these things, which shines upon all of these things. Focus on that. Focus means become aware of that. This meditation, dhyayet, meditate in this way, drishyanu vidhoyam. This is called meditation with support of an object. Drishya means an object which is experienced. Samadhi savikalpaka. This is the first of the internal samadhis with support. Next, what happens? As you keep, they are in sequence. The three samadhis, internal samadhis, are in sequence. As you keep doing this, trying to focus inwards, gently switch to the next one, the next higher samadhi. 25. Asanga Satchidananda, Asanga Satchidananda, Swaprabho Dvaita Varjita, Swaprabho Dvaita Varjita, Asmiti Shabda Vidhoyam, Asmiti Shabda Vidhoyam, Samadhi Savikalpaka, Samadhi Savikalpaka. The second samadhi with support. How does it work? It takes the support of a text, an Advaitic, non-dual text. What does it do? As you focus on the witness consciousness, then gently bring these words to mind. What are the words? Asangaha, non-attached. Non-attached. Detached, non-attached. This witness consciousness is completely non-attached. People come and go, body comes and changes continuously, thoughts come and go, feelings come and go. From the morning till now, just a couple of hours since you've woken up, and how many times you've been pleased and dull and active and unhappy and relaxed and alert. The mind continuously changes. Thoughts come and go. The witness consciousness illumines all of them and is not affected by them. It's like the light here. Objects come and go. Here is a book. It goes away. Here is a bottle. It goes away. The light is one and constant. Whatever comes, it shines upon it and illumines. You are that constant light of awareness. All changes are in the object, in the world outside, in the body, in the breath, in the mind, in the emotions. All changes are objects which do not affect that witness consciousness at all. They shine up, it shines upon them, reveals them, experiences them. That's it. They come and go. When they come, your attitude is welcome. When they stay, attitude is you're welcome to stay. When they go, your attitude is bye-bye. Yeah. Let it come, let it be, let it go. Asangaha, you are that unattached consciousness. You're not trying to psych yourself. Positive thinking, affirm that I am detached, at the same time suffering, I'm so attached to everything. No. Instead of trying to be detached, if you try to be detached, you're going to fail. Try to see that the witness consciousness inside your real self is detached. It is detached. It cannot be any other way. Nothing can you hold on to. All of them come and shine in your awareness and fade away. You cannot hold on to anything, and nothing holds on to you. Asangaha. Then the next word is Satchidananda. We know that this word, it's isness. That consciousness is isness also. It is chit, it is awareness, and it is bliss. Note it. Don't try to be existence consciousness bliss. Note that you already are existence consciousness bliss. Swaprabha, the other word is self-luminous. Swaprabha, self-luminous. That consciousness shines forth. You are the witness consciousness. You shine forth, and everything shines after you. We, at the end of Arati, we chant here, Na tatra surya bhati na chandra tarakam. There the sun shines not, nor the moon, nor the stars or the lightning. What can the mere fire do, which I wave before thee, my Lord? What can the mere fire do? That shining, everything else shines. Tame, what a beautiful verse from the Upanishads. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. Kathopanishad, Mundaka-upanishad. You can find it in these Upanishads. That shining, everything else shines. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. By its light, everything is lit up. What's that wonderful thing? It's you. You shining, everything else in your life shines after that. Isn't it a fact? If you say, yes, it's a fact, you're beginning to get it. By your light is everything else in life lit up. In your life right now, what lights up, what reveals the world to you? You, the consciousness. Is it not so? Right now? Because you are aware, everything else is revealed to you. All shine because you shine forth. So, Swaprabha, self-luminous, Dvaita Varjita, without a second. Remember, it is Maya which imposes this universe of names and forms upon you, the consciousness. Apart from you, the consciousness, there is no second entity. You alone exist in all these forms. Apart from that prince, there is no princess of Kashi. Remember the story? It is the prince alone who shines forth as the princess of Kashi. It is you alone who shine forth as this universe. Secondless, I am non-dual. Asmi, I am. So what is the affirmation? What do you note about yourself? As you note the witness consciousness, you note, I am non-attached. I am existence consciousness bliss. I am self-luminous. I shining, all shines forth. I am non-dual. Shabda Vidhovayam, with textual support. Samadhi savikalpaka. This is the second internal samadhi with support. Second samadhi. At any point, if you lose this thing and thoughts come up and you get engrossed in thoughts, go back immediately to the first one. Use that thought to become aware of the witness consciousness. Right? It is shining in your awareness. Become aware of awareness itself. Then come back to the text. It could be some other text. I am Shiva. I am Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham. I am of the nature of consciousness and bliss. Any kind of Vedantic text you can take up. This is as an example. I am unattached. I am existence, consciousness, bliss. I am self-luminous. I am without a second, non-dual. Not as an affirmation. Keep noticing, yes, I am. As you stabilize there, then what happens? The next one you cannot practice. It should come as a consequence of the first two. You will flow into it. 26. Swanubhuti rasaveshat, Swanubhuti rasaveshat, drishya shabda upekshatu, drishya shabda upekshatu, nirvikalpa samadhisyat, nirvikalpa samadhisyat, nivata sthita deepavat, nivata sthita deepavat. Swanubhuti rasaveshat, a kind of intoxication will come upon you. This pure experience of awareness, of the experiencing consciousness itself. As you remain there, Swanubhuti rasaveshat, by the sheer intoxication generated by that experience, what do? Gently drop the text. You've already dropped the thought. There was a thought. Say Om. I am the witness of that thought. In my light, this thought shines. That light which I am is, now you go to the text-supported samadhi. It is detached. It is existence, consciousness, bliss. It is self-luminous. It is non-dual. And then drop these words. Just stay. If thoughts come up, no problem. I am the consciousness in which the thought shines. That awareness. Then go to the texts. And then come back and dive deeper into this absolute stillness. Thoughts come up again, go back to the first one, the first samadhi. And then come to the second one gently, and then drop. Drishya shabda upekshatu. This is a very subtly put. What it says is, gently ignore the thought itself and the text. Drop the texts. Drop the words, drop the thought, and be. Again, disturbances will come. The mind will think. Some sensation will come. Wonderful. Nothing better could be there. Use that to become aware of the awareness itself in which it shines. Right? As you go into this is called nirvikalpa samadhi. Samadhi without support. Nivad, what's it like? It's a classic image used taken from the Gita. A lamp with a flame normally flickers when there is wind. In a windless place, when you put a lamp and the flame shines true and straight. It's so delicate. It's shining. It's burning. It's there, but it will not flicker if there is no wind. Exactly like that, you're fully awake. You're fully aware, but awareness only. No object. So these are the three. Use the object to become aware of the light that you are. Drop the object. Use the text to describe the light that you are. Drop the text and be the light. You are the light. Just be. Now I'm going to do something. Something occurred to me. I'll use an example. It's like that beam of light. There's a beam of light, very strong beam of light coming from the projector. Now let me show you something. Stage 1, Samadhi 1, Samadhi 2, and Samadhi 3. It's like this. I'm going to get up and show you something. There's light here, of course, one can see that. Yeah. Just take a minute. There's light here, of course, one can see that. But do you know something amazing? Right here, it's full of light. Right here, it's full of light. You can't see it. Why can't you see it? There is no reflecting object. Watch now. Look. Huh? This place is full of light. Intense light is there. Watch. Now what you have got to do is, here is an object. Use this object. What happened just now? You're not only seeing my hand, you suddenly became aware of the light. Is it not so? Look. It's not just my hand. You're becoming aware of this very bright light which is there. Use the hand to become aware of the light. And then next, this is the first samadhi. The next samadhi is to tell yourself, I am this light, which is completely unattached to the hand or anything else that comes here. I am self-luminous. I shine forth, everything shines after me. I am existence, consciousness, bliss. This poor light, of course, is not existence, consciousness, bliss. But you have to tell yourself, I am existence, consciousness, bliss. And I am the light which has no second, because everything else is just like the princess of Kashi. Even this hand is nothing other than the light with a name and a form. This will not apply to the example, of course. But in your mind, tell yourself that. Then gently drop the thought, that is the object, and the text also, that I am this light, and remain as the light. Which you are not, which is just like this now, where you are not directly aware of it, thinking about it. No. It's there, absolutely shining forth, and yet it's not an object anymore. Use the object to become aware of the light, not the object. And then use the text. I am unattached. I am existence, consciousness, bliss. I am without a second. I am self-luminous. I shining. Everything else in my life shines forth. Then drop the object and the text. Remain as the light of consciousness. So that's a nice example. Thank you. So these are 3 samadhis which are internal. They require you to be a little quiet and indrawn because you're going inwards. But another interesting feature of Vedantic samadhi is, or Advaitic meditation is, you can actually practice it while you're in the world. You don't have to sit down and go inside. For these 3, it's good if you sit down and go inside. For the next 3, you can actually practice it in the middle of the activities of the world. In general, of course, it's always a good idea to sit down when you're meditating. There's a story how this came about. One of the great philosophers is who was the founder of the Nyaya system, Akshapada, Vaisheshika system, Kannada. His name was Akshapada. No, he is the founder of the Nyaya system, yes. Gautama Akshapada. So, Akshapada literally means who has an eye in the foot. Literally it means that. So, as usual in India, you have a colorful story associated with everything. How did he come to have such a strange name, eye in the foot? Well, this great philosopher, sage, he had the habit of walking and meditating. He would walk and he would close his eyes and meditate. And an inevitable happened. If you try to do that in the Himalayas, you'll stumble and fall. So he stumbled and fell. But he was a great sage with tremendous power. So he was furious with the Himalayas for making him stumble and fall. So he decided to curse the Himalayas that you become flat. And the Himalayas were terrified. So they went to the gods and the mountains went, persuade this guy he's crazy, he's going to make me flat. So the gods came to the sage, Gautama, and said, look, why don't you sit and meditate? And the Gautama said, where is it written that I have to sit and meditate? I'm going to walk and meditate. And I'm going to make the Himalayas flat. Then the god said, wait, there is a way out and compromise. You can walk and meditate. You can close these two eyes. We're going to give you a new eye in your foot so that when you walk, you'll be able to see where you're going and you will not fall and you won't stumble and fall. So they gave him like a new app, downloaded a new eye for his foot. And so he becomes not foot in the mouth, but eye in the foot. The sage who has got the eye in the foot, Akshapada. So that's how the story goes. Most probably, the real reason he had that name was he used to keep his eyes focused downwards while walking, as a practice of concentration. So not something as colorful as this. But as a result of this, in fact, there is a sutra in the Brahma Sutras which says something quite obvious. Asino sambhavat. Meditation is possible while sitting. So it actually instructs you to sit while meditating. Anyhow, but this Vedantic meditation, you don't actually have to sit and meditate with your eyes closed. In fact, you have to have your eyes open for this meditation. So how does this work? Verse number 24. Verse number 27. Hridiva bahya deshepi, hridiva bahya deshepi, yasmin kasminscha vastuni, samadhiradya sanmatrat, namarupa prithak-kritihi. In this 27th verse, he is giving us the first of the external samadhis. What's an external samadhi? He says, take up any object, external object, what you can see or hear or anything. Yasmin kasminscha vastuni. Look at the boldness of this. Take any object. Or does it have to be an image of God, maybe my Krishna or Shiva? No. You can take up anything. Anything here at all. Whatever is in front of your eyes. Something that you can see or hear or touch. And then what do? It says, Sanmatrat nama rupa prithak-kriti. Just notice, feel its isness, that it exists. Any object that comes definitely exists. Book is. Bottle is. Focus on the being, isness. Not on the name and form. What's the form? This is a form. What's the name? Book. Forget this. Nama rupa prithak-kriti. Do not focus on the name and form. Focus on the isness. It's not as difficult as it sounds. Focus on the isness. It's like telling you, look at those 10,000 waves in the ocean there. The waves and the bubbles and the foam and the spray. And focus, forget the waves and the bubble and the spray. Focus on the water. Not very difficult to do. Keep your mind on that. Keep your mind on the isness of things. If one after another many things come, keep your mind on the isness of all of that. All these people, man is, woman is, the mat on which I sit is, the sky is a being. And you will immediately see, or at least very soon you will see, we are in the middle of an ocean of being. Imagine there's an ocean of existence here. And all these people and things and plants, they're all waves in that ocean. They're pretty fixed and unmoving waves, but still they're waves in that ocean. You see, Vedanta has a very different way of looking at it. Let me ask you, is the water in the waves or the waves in the water? Do the waves have water in them? Wait a minute, you would immediately say, yeah, wait a minute. Or the water has waves in it. Our first impulse is to say, yeah, the waves have water. Can't you see the waves are all full of water to the brim? They're filled with water. But actually, it's the water which appears as the waves. It's the water in the ocean which arises as waves and moves as waves and subsides again, back into water. Before it was a wave, it was water. After it subsides, it's water. In between, what is it? Water. You're tempted to say, in between it's a wave. But in between it's water. Every bit of it is water. In the same way, so instead of saying the water has waves, the waves have water, we say that it is water which is appearing as waves. What Vedanta would say, we would say that the chair exists. The chair exists. Vedanta would like to say existence chairs. And I'm coining that language. Language is not meant to express a non-duality. So existence appears as a man, a woman, as a chair, as a plant, as a sky. Existence itself with names and forms appears in these ways. So focus on the isness. You can do this anytime. In fact, before food, we chant Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam. If you know that the chant, it's from the Gita. So it means Brahman is the offering, Brahman is the ladle with which you do the offering, Brahman is the offering itself, Brahman is the fire into which you offer, Brahman is the one who offers. The one who sees Brahman in every action will realize Brahman. That's the meaning of the verse. And it's chanted before food. It's like, here is the food, food is Brahman, and the fire of hunger is in my tummy, which is Brahman, and I am offering the food into the fire, which is the one who is offering is also Brahman. So you connect the act of eating to Brahman. But it's not just eating. You can connect every action to Brahman. How do you do that? Notice the isness in everything. That food is also isness in the name and form of food. The hunger in my stomach is also isness in the form of hunger. The person, I am also isness in this name and form. Focus on being, focus on isness. Then what you do? Drop the object and go to the text. 28, the text. Akhandaika-rasam vastu, akhandaika-rasam vastu, Satchidananda-lakshanam, Satchidananda-lakshanam, Ityavichinna-chinteyam, Ityavichinna-chinteyam, Samadhir-madhyamo bhavet, Samadhir-madhyamo bhavet. Second external samadhi with support is with the support of texts. Notice this isness. And then notice what? Akhanda. It is unbroken. Everywhere one isness. Waves are broken. One wave, another wave, another wave. If you notice the water, all through all the waves in the entire Atlantic Ocean, same water flows everywhere. Unbroken. Here is an unbroken ocean of existence. Akhanda. Ekarasam. Homogeneous. There is no difference in it whatsoever. We say good, bad, I like this person, I don't like this person, I like this food, I like this place, I don't like that place. All of them are none other than the same homogeneous one existence everywhere. The difference only is in names and forms. And those names and forms are ever-changing appearances. They are pictures on the screen. You see, here on the screen, you can see so many pictures. And if you project a movie, and yet all the pictures are nothing but the screen. Light and shadow on the screen. The screen is present in every picture. And without the screen, no picture would be there. In fact, the pictures are just pictures. The reality is the screen. And of course, the light. In the same way, here the light and the screen are different. In Satchidananda, light and the screen are the same. Existence and consciousness are one thing. Whatever picture comes up, it is none other than that one existence consciousness. So, Akhandaika-rasam, vastu. Vastu is reality. The reality is undivided. We think the reality is divided. No, it is undivided. One ocean of bliss, of being. One ocean of being. Ekarasam, it is homogeneous. We think reality is so plural, so variegated. No, it is one unchanging ocean of existence. Satchidananda, being absolute, consciousness absolute, bliss absolute. Iti avichinna chinta, this unbroken, when this kind of text becomes unbroken, you keep noticing this. Use this text in an unbroken flow. It is called the second type of samadhi. Samadhi madhyamo bhavet is middle samadhi, second type of samadhi. Now, as you keep doing this, automatically it will flow into samadhi without support, nirvikalpa samadhi, external nirvikalpa samadhi. By the way, The word external is a bit of a misnomer. You know what will actually happen? When you notice the being everywhere, drop the name and form, beings everywhere. The one ocean of, unchanging ocean of being everywhere. Very soon you will notice something which is not said here. You will notice that that thing is not outside. It's you. You are that unchanging ocean of being. So very soon, actually, in one sense, this external samadhi, it's called external only because you begin with an external object. But very soon it becomes internal, because then you are immersed in that isness. As you go, it becomes nirvikalpa samadhi. 29. Stabdi bhava rasa swadat, stabdi bhava rasa swadat, tritiya purvavanmataha, tritiya purvavanmataha, etei samadhibhi shadbhi, etei samadhibhi shadbhi, nayet kalam nirantaram, nayet kalam nirantaram. As you practice this, drop the text, drop the object earlier, drop the text, just like we dropped the hand from there and drop the text that I am that light, we drop it from there. That isness alone remains. It leads to a kind of internal intoxication, a deep, peace and joy and steadiness. Stabdi bhava, absorption comes. You're deeply absorbed in it. This is the third samadhi, the nirvikalpa samadhi, externally, using an external support. So nirvikalpa samadhi, starting with an external support, dropping the external support, going to the words, dropping the words, nirvikalpa samadhi. Purvavanmata, just like the internal samadhis. Purvaman, like the earlier three. Here the third one is just like that. Then what do? Ete samadhibhi shadbhi. By these 6 techniques, which you can practice at any time, whether with eyes closed or with eyes open. Kalam nayet. Spend your time. How much time? Nirantaram, without break. As much as possible. It takes a period of intensive immersion in this to make it real. Once it becomes real, you don't have to bother so much about it. It's always available. It's continuously and always available. No effort is necessary. You make a breakthrough, then there's no way of driving it away. Sometimes I say, don't be in a hurry. Once you walk through this door, the world will never be the same. You will never be the same to yourself. And once you get it, the amazing thing is you cannot drive it away. It will always be there. Not that always you'll be thinking about I am, existence, consciousness, bliss. No, but it will be available. The moment a blow comes, a suffering comes, unhappiness comes, you can retreat to that place of peace within you. There's this vast refuge of peace within us. So like Ramakrishna, when Hari said, I see you are in great bliss. It's true. At the level of the body, cancer, pain, weakness, unable to eat, misery. Step back into the isness, no pain, no misery. It's real. It's more real than the body and its pain. And so Ramakrishna bursts out laughing and says, oh, the rascal has seen through me. So this is the 6th one. And you have to spend time in this. Once you spend time in this, what will happen? 30th verse. Dehabhimane galite, dehabhimane galite, vijñāte paramatmani, vijñāte paramatmani, yatra yatra mano yati, yatra yatra mano yati, tatra tatra samadhaya, tatra tatra samadhaya. A beautiful verse which says, as you remain immersed in these 6 kinds of samadhi, these practices, slowly what will happen is, deha abhimane galite, this strong identification, I am this particular body, this will dissolve. Galita means dissolve. You no longer feel that I am this particular cage of flesh and blood. Vijñāte paramatmani, then the Supreme Self becomes real to you. That I am Satchidananda becomes real to you. Then what happens? Then yatra yatra mano yati. Wherever the mind goes means mind doesn't go anywhere. Whatever the mind thinks about, tatra tatra samadhaya. There itself you will get samadhi. Whatever thought comes into the mind, you don't have to consciously bring your mind back to a meditative thought or a meditative state. It's always continuously available to you. This absorption in your real nature. It's available outside with eyes open. It's available inside with eyes closed. Once Ramakrishna says humorously, when I close my eyes, there is God, and I open my eyes, God disappears. What kind of God is this? Is it depends on your opening and closing the eyes? No. Inside and outside. Inside and outside is just this barrier of the skin. There is no inside and outside. It's one unbroken ocean of existence. With eyes open, with eyes closed, it's continuously available to us. The internal samadhis, external samadhis. Before I conclude the 31st verse, by the way, there are two versions of this text. One version has 46 verses. So don't worry, I'm not going to go into the next 15 verses now. But that is a little controversial because the teaching is complete in these 31 verses. The next verse is 31st verse, which gives you the result of all of this. And the teaching is complete, logically complete. So why are there 15 more verses tacked on? That's why scholars think that those verses might be interpolations. Later, somebody might have attached them to one version of the text. Remember, these texts were handwritten at one time. So one of those manuscripts might have a few extra verses, which some scholar or some monk at some time might have felt like adding on to these texts. So if you want the complete teaching, 31 verses is enough. Before I conclude, a short note on sadhana, spiritual practice. Remember, what was said here is from the point of view of Advaita Vedanta, the path of knowledge. Now one might ask, what about my other spiritual practices? I do puja here, I do karma yoga, I serve people, I have devotion, I sing, I chant, I have rituals. What about all of that? This is a very sophisticated, philosophical, meditative practice. And this seems to reveal the truth to me. So why do I need anything else at all? The reason is this. Advaita Vedanta tells us, and this book told us, that you are Brahman right now. Satchidananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. As existence, consciousness, bliss, we have no problem at all in this world. And if you stop there, we tend to we scratch our heads and say, yeah, right, but it doesn't seem like that to me. I mean, here is my world, and you're saying these things, I'm reading about these things, it's not real to me. Oh, it's not real to you. It's not real to us because Vedanta says, what's the problem? First problem is ignorance. We are not aware of our real nature. Remember the veiling power of Maya? So how do you solve this problem? Problem, ignorance. Solution is always knowledge. For ignorance, solution is knowledge. How do you get knowledge? Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, what we discussed. Listen to these teachings, think about it, clarify, and meditate. So, hearing, reflecting, meditating. It should give you the knowledge, I am Brahman, remove the ignorance, and there you are, you're home free. There we tend to scratch our heads and say, yeah, but I've been attending these classes for 30 years and not much has really happened. Then what's the problem? The second stage problem, Vedanta says, is the mind is unable to grasp these, to assimilate these. The mind is restless. The mind is scattered. Once, in the Gospel of Ramakrishna, you find this place where people are discussing Vedanta. And Ramakrishna listens carefully without contributing to the discussion. And at the end, he says something significant. He says, these words are good, but one needs to assimilate this. These teachings are good. There's nothing wrong with it. But one must assimilate. Assimilate means make it real. Now, otherwise, what will happen is, you go away with the feeling, I learned a clever philosophy. Yeah, it's nice. It's cool what they said. But it hasn't changed my life. My life is just the same as before. So the mind is scattered, unable to assimilate, unable to make it real. The scattered mind, problem. Solution, concentration. Method, meditation. In Sanskrit, upasana. This is where bhakti comes in. This is where Patanjali yoga comes in. The method of yoga of meditation, the yoga of love, all of them come in here. They focus the mind on God or Brahman or your real self. You say, okay, I do that. I start meditate. And then we again scratch our heads and go, well, I've been meditating for 30 years. Either my mind is distracted or I fall asleep. I am not really getting that deep concentrated mind meditation talks about. What is the problem now? The third tier of problem, and I promise you this is the last one. The third tier of problems is, they call it chitta mala. It literally means garbage in the mind. All the junk that we have collected in this life and many lifetimes past, that is clouding the mind. It is not enabling us to practice meditation, let alone knowledge. So that has to be cleared up. Pollution in the mind, problem. Then solution, purity of mind, literally chitta shuddhi. This is a term you come across again and again and again in Vedanta. Chitta shuddhi, purification of the mind. And the way you purify the mind, there are many practices. All of these practices help in purifying the mind. Karma yoga is a very powerful practice. Unselfish action, selfishness is the core of impurities. Unselfish action purifies the mind. Now have this matrix in your mind. Problem, solution, method. Problem, ignorance. Solution, knowledge. Method, shravana, manana, nididhyasana. Hearing, reflecting, meditation. Meditation means Vedantic meditation. Second tier of problems, distracted mind. Solution, concentrated mind. Method, the yogic meditation, bhakti, all of these practices. Third tier of problems, impure mind. Solution, pure mind. Method, karma yoga and other practices. So you have a matrix, like a 3x3 matrix, that gives you the basic idea of sadhana. One more caution and then I'll go on to the last verse. One just note here. This matrix is from the point of view of Advaita Vedanta, because you will notice the yoga of knowledge is privileged at the top. That's what gives you liberation. The yoga of meditation, the yoga of love, and the yoga of service, karma yoga, all of them have been put as in supporting roles. They are not the heroes. They're the supporting roles. That's because this is the path of knowledge. If you go to a teacher of bhakti, the teacher of bhakti will put the yoga of bhakti at the top. So these yogas can be changed depending on your basic philosophy. All right. Now we go to the last verse, 31. And this is not a verse which belongs to this text. It's a direct quote from the Mundaka Upanishad. Bhidyate hridaya granthi, bhidyate hridaya granthi, chidyante sarva samshaya, chidyante sarva samshaya, kshiyante chasya karmani, kshiyante chasya karmani, tasmin drishte paravare. Tasmin drishte paravare. Tasmin drishte paravare. When you realize Brahman in its transcendent nature and its immanent nature. Brahman as this. All of this is none other than that existence consciousness place. And other than this also. Remove all names and forms, that unmanifest Brahman, Nirguna Nirakara Brahman, the transcendent Brahman. When Brahman is realized in these two aspects, eyes open, eyes closed, you realize these two, then what happens? Vidyate hridaya granthi. The knots of the heart are cut asunder. Now that might sound like a particularly painful procedure, a cardiac procedure, but that's not what is meant. Knots of the heart means ignorance, which ties us to this body and mind, which makes us think, I am this body and mind. That is sliced apart. You no longer think that you are this particular name and form called a body and mind. Bhidyate hridaya granthi. The knots of ignorance in the heart are rent asunder. Chidyante sarva samshaya. What a beautiful verse. It says mantra. Because in Upanishads, they are not verses, they are called mantras. It's a beautiful mantra. All doubts are resolved. It's like looking at the sun, and anybody who tells you there is no sun, there is no such thing as a sun, you would not be at all persuaded by that, because you are directly experiencing it. It is so vividly experienced, so brightly experienced, that no doubt is possible anymore. Chidyante sarva samshaya. Before that, doubt may come to the mind. But at this point, no more doubt after this. Even the greatest of arguments of the greatest of philosophers and scientists cannot shake you, because it's your continuous experience blazing forth all the time. Kshiyante chasya karmani. All karmas are burnt up. All our past karmas are burnt up. Why is this important? Because this is what keeps on generating newer and newer bodies and giving us these limited lives. This is what prevents us from the unlimited life which is our birthright. So, past karmas, which keep on generating bodies which give us good and bad experiences, all karmas are burnt up, are destroyed by this knowledge. This is why they say that once you get this knowledge, you are free, moksha. No more is birth, no more is death. You remain as an infinite existence, consciousness, bliss. So this is the result of Vedanta. I pray to the Lord, to the lineage of gurus, that in this very life, may we be blessed with this insight. May our lives become blessed. May we regain our divine nature in this very life itself. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.